Everybody knows that Man United need a new goalkeeper, one who can play with his feet and pass the ball around because David De Gea is bad at it. Many goalkeepers can do this. Andre Onana is one of those, but there are many reasons why I think specifically he is the right, perfect choice for Man United. And by the end of this video, I'm going to try to explain to you exactly why they should do everything possible to get him specifically to be their new goalkeeper. And let's start with what they've already got, which is of course David De Gea. Now he is a very good shot-stopping goalkeeper still. He is very good at that. He won the Golden Gloves in the Premier League last season because he kept 17 clean sheets in 38 games. Very good. That is the second time he's won the Golden Gloves in the Premier League. He's managed to keep over 11 clean sheets, 11 or more clean sheets in the Premier League in 9 of his 12 seasons in the Premier League, and he's won Man United's Player of the Year 4 times. So clearly a good goalkeeper. But he's not as good as he once was, and he started to make a lot of mistakes, a lot of them high profile. He's not in the Spain team anymore. He's not the same goalkeeper he once was that won 4 Man United Player of the Year awards. And he's very expensive as well. So you keep him, you maybe don't have the absolute elite level goalie you want, and he doesn't do the things you need him to do with the ball at his feet. So Man United need a goalkeeper who can pass the ball under pressure as an absolute base level. And there are quite a lot of goalies who can do that. You've got Emi Martinez, Mike Maignan, Diego Costa, Unai Simon, Ederson, Alisson. Basically, there are loads of possibilities. But Andre Onana is the best one. Why is that? Well, shot-stopping wise, he's all right. He's a good goalkeeper. He stops the ball from going into the goal. He only kept 8 clean sheets last season for Inter. He hasn't really had the same number of clean sheets as De Gea has in the past, and his stats are quite decent, so he's a solid shot-stopper. But don't trust me, trust the Athletic's Matt Petrowski, who's an ex-goalkeeper, and he says that Onana is a player Ten Hag knows well. We know that already. The Cameroon international has an exceptional passing range, confidence with the ball at his feet, commands his box very well, and is an outstanding shot stopper. Those skills were on display during Inter's run to the recent Champions League final. So why do I think Man United need him rather than someone like Diogo Costa or David Raya? Well, the key, predictably, is in how he uses his feet. But the real, even bigger key is in where he uses his feet. Now, as you can see from these touch maps, Onana likes to have the ball not just in his box like a goalkeeper, but basically moves out so far out of his goal, he almost becomes a midfielder, and this has huge tactical advantages for the team he plays for. So one obvious benefit is if a team is playing a high line, if the opposition plays the ball over the top, Onana comes off his line quickly to be able to sweep it up and deal with any mistakes that are there. So you can rely on that at the back. That means that the defensive line can push higher up, which means you can then press higher up and keep your opponent contained closer to their goal, which of course then means you can keep possession and attack better. But crucially with Onana, rather than any other player, because say De Gea comes off his line here, Onana has got great first touch and great composure on the ball. So when the ball comes to him, he can then work out whether to recycle short, make sure his teammates have got passing options, or trying to hit it long to someone else to keep the move going. So rather than being part of a triangle or a diamond in this sort of bit here, what he can do is push right up to where Casemiro would be. He can push up here, which then of course means you gain advantage because the centre backs can split really far and wide, which gives you a good passing option and means that oppositions don't know what to do with their pressing. Do they press Onana? If they do, he can quickly shift the ball over, then they've got to go, and that'll free up space for them to move the ball around because Casemiro's not here, he's now here, so there's an extra man. It basically makes a team pressing rethink everything that they're doing. And of course, this gives you better passing options at the back as well because the centre backs split wide like this, which means your full backs can push right up, which means that the wingers can come inside to offer a pass in the half space, which means that the midfielder, Casemiro, doesn't have to be here, he can be further forward, and of course this all has a knock-on effect on the opposition because if you push more players forward, and especially where a fullback goes, you might have a player who tracks him and goes back with you, so they get forced ever deeper, which in turn opens up more space. Yeah, basically it gives you a huge tactical advantage. We can see it in big games as well. So if we look at how Onana played in the Champions League final, we can see exactly what I'm talking about here. So this is 15 seconds into the game. Now, the ball goes back from kickoff all the way back here, Inter retreat into their half. Here's Onana on the ball. Now, Onana carries it, and rather than passing wide to one of these players, he carries it towards the City press, who are looking to see what he's going to do. And then what you'll notice, if I go back one and here again, this player here is a wing back. So because these guys split, he can then push further forward. And as he starts to go, this player here, who is close to mark this one, has to follow him and track him all the way back, which leaves this guy free. So then Onana instantly has a choice of a long ball out to this player on the wing, which he opts for and puts it out of play. But if he goes to this little player here, you can chip it over the top of this front four. That's maybe an option. Basically, it gives you far more options in possession to get the ball forward and makes Manchester City try and work out what on earth they're meant to do in this situation. But don't believe me, you should believe Pep Guardiola, who talked about exactly this problem in his pre-match interviews. He talked about Onana and said that it's difficult when you have that keeper to high press properly. For the way they play, Onana is an exceptional goalkeeper to take the position in build-up. Really, really good. The link to the front men, Lautaro and Lukaku, Dzeko, they are a masters to keep the ball. With United, Manchester United of course, the long ball with Rashford and the other one, they don't keep it. These guys enter, they keep it, and after they link it, they run. So it's not just that Onana's positioning is really aggressive and really helps with these sorts of things, but also his distribution is excellent, and the different range of passing is another thing that really confuses an opposition press and gives you a massive advantage. So what Inter would do with him is either have him carry into midfield and then he can pass it short, but he's got a really great long pass, so he can have options of going wide to wing backs who can either stay deep or they can push high up, which again moves players inside the pitch. Or what they could do with Inter specifically, as Guardiola was talking about in that quote, is go as long to a big lad up top. And then you put players around him so they can win the ball. Now his long passing is accurate, it's not ideal, and they have players like Dzeko and things like that that have made use of this in the past. And then the risk with the long pass is that if you try and push up to try and press and you stay together as a unit, as you should do when you're pressing, what that then might mean is that the long pass in behind, if you don't get pressure on him early enough, means that a player can beat the high press and get behind the defence and try and score. That's obviously bad. So what players do when they see a goalkeeper like Onana with that range of passing is tend to drop a little bit deeper. Now they drop deeper like this, it means they don't have to worry so much about the player in behind because he's got that long range passing. What it does also mean is that you can't put as much pressure on the top. Because if you put pressure on the top and these guys try and push out like this, then that leaves loads of extra space in behind where it wasn't before, which means players like Fernandes, Eriksen could drop in, and then you've got a short, easy pass out so you can keep possession building from the back. Onana changes every single part of your build-up and affects the pressing of the opposition as well. And then of course, if you think about what United have had, is David De Gea. When the ball comes to him, he either passes short and puts his teammates in danger, he takes too long to make a decision, or he doesn't pass with the right weight or quality, or he just shells it long and the ball goes straight out and then comes straight back. The faster it goes forward, the quicker it comes back usually, is the rule according to Juan Malilo. But it has an effect on the entire club even. So this is the difference a goalkeeper can make. So if you remember what United did last season, they brought in Wout Weghorst as a number 9. Now, he's not the proper, perfect kind of Man United number 9 you want to have. He's not just there to score goals though. He's there to try and win the ball because David De Gea can't play with his feet, we know that. And so rather than try and do that, you have to make sure he can play long, or if he does one of these bad passes out here, his teammates have an option to go long. And so Weghorst, signed as a 9, was often playing as a 10 because he was in midfield to be able to take the ball down to give them an out ball. And that's what they were relying on for a lot of the time. They couldn't play out from the back and keep the ball that way. They had to be more transitional. So Ten Hag's real blueprint hasn't yet been seen specifically because of the goalkeeper. I'm not saying Weghorst was signed just because of David De Gea, but it makes absolute sense to bring in a player of his profile and not the quality you might want of a United player with the distribution you have from De Gea and everything else that happens at the back. And if you look at where De Gea touches the ball as well, he's very kind of close to his box. Now he does take touches outside of the box. You see these are sort of random games, but there's a reason I picked both of these. Now this is against Atletico in the Champions League last season, the 21-22 season. This is against Brentford from this season earlier on when they lost. It was a 4-0 defeat against Brentford. This is a 1-0 draw with Atletico. And I'll show you some of the touches that De Gea has made. So this is the start of the Atletico Madrid game. They're 1-0 up, I think. It becomes a 1-1 game in the end. Now United have been forced backwards. As you can see, Atletico in that kind of 4-4-2 press I was showing you earlier, they're going to try and chase this ball out. And United have this squeeze shape at the back. The ball's going to go back to De Gea, who has plenty of space. Now here's the ball here, absolutely no one near him. Atletico are keeping their line here. They've got a front two, not really pressing, just offering a block here. And De Gea has the ball, so he's in control here. And what he does is looks up, sees his surroundings. What can he do? If he hits it long, it's going to come straight back because they're waiting for that long ball. If he goes short, tries to pass, you know they'll be in trouble and he has to be involved in the play. So what he does is he looks up, plays a short pass to this guy here. Now, they're not split. These guys can then control exactly where the play goes. And if you look at what's in play here, this player now only has one real passing option when he turns around. When he takes that on this turn, his only real option is the right back here, so as he's dropping into this position. Now, as you can see, they're waiting for this, because as soon as the ball goes out to him and he plays it out here, he'll snap in. There's no other options to go forward, so Atletico have control of this situation. If De Gea had held onto the ball, moved up, the centre-backs can split, the full-backs can maybe push up higher up the pitch, they can try and get more forward options and even offer themselves a longer pass as well. But because of De Gea's rush to get rid of the ball rather than play and come forward with it, they're straight back to where they were before and they have a trouble trying to break down a difficult Atletico block. And so we move on to Brentford in the Premier League. Now you may remember this game because bad things happened. Here he is taking a goal kick passed short. And of course, what we see with De Gea is too much thinking about what's going on around him rather than acting on it. So when he takes the ball, he then plays the right pass at the wrong time, I'd say, because he's taking too long. If he'd passed this quicker, this guy might have been not marked really tight as he was. There might be more room to pass it back here so they can play out. Instead, what we know happens is there's a bit of a mix-up, goes back here, they close down, it goes out for a throw-in, and Brentford score from the throw-in. And it's because of De Gea taking too long in his decision-making when he receives the ball to play the pass. So it's not like he's playing a bad pass particularly, it's just he's playing the right pass at the wrong time, which then does actually make it a bad pass. But you can forgive De Gea for making mistakes under high pressure. He's brand new to this. This was very at the start of Ten Hag's reign, his reign of terror. And so what you have here is De Gea 5 minutes later. Will he have learned from his mistake? Well, we know he's not going to. But what you see here is Brentford starting to press again. The centre-backs maybe aren't split enough. Maybe there's positional things at play that are affecting him here. But De Gea looks up, doesn't fancy trying to chip it over the oncoming striker or trying to play it wide to this player here, nor trying to play it short to anyone because they're all hiding and they're marked here. Instead, he's going to go long. And when he goes long, as he decides to here, he goes over the top. He's a target over here, not a big tall lad, someone who's not going to win the ball. And of course, the ball goes straight back to Brentford. So there are plenty of goalkeepers who could deal with these situations that De Gea has much better than David De Gea. We know that. There are plenty of them that exist. Loads of them are really expensive, some of them are affordable. Onana is one of the more affordable ones on there. But the reason Onana is so absolutely perfect for United is because he gives them this huge tactical advantage that others don't. So United need to get advantages to be able to push for a title challenge against teams with better players than they have, who are maybe better organised and just look more cohesive. If you have a player like Onana, rather than say Diogo Costa or David Raya, what you suddenly get is a player who can change the way you build up, change the way you defend, change the way you attack. He gives you every single part of your team that gives you an advantage, either with numerical advantage, literally him pushing into midfield to push players wide, or just in the way that his speed of thought and range of passing means that he affects how the opposition line up against them with their pressing structure. Onana is 100% the absolute best goalkeeper they could possibly sign for a Ten Hag team. He was very good for him at Ajax as well, so he knows him, and therefore that is why I think Man United absolutely need to try and buy Andre Onana, because he's really good specifically for what they want to do.
If you like this video, please consider subscribing to the channel. The Athletic is home to some of the world's best sports journalists, including journalists dedicated to each Premier League team, so every fan gets the coverage they deserve, not just the big clubs. And you can try it for free now for 30 days. See the link in the description.